Welcome to SureWinz MMA. Today we're joined by Julien Leblanc, a fighter whose journey represents exactly what this sport represents, which is sacrifice, perseverance, and relentless pursuit of greatness. After years of grinding through the regional scene and putting together performances that demanded attention, he's finally got the call and the UFC came. Julien, how are you feeling?
Feeling amazing, thanks. And you?
I'm feeling good, feeling good. Thank you for asking.
Awesome.
So, talking to the moment, everything came together, When you got the call, what was going through your mind and kind of what words were kind of coming through you when they say, you're in and we want to give you the opportunity.
Like for sure, I was super hyped, super pumped, super excited. It's been a long journey, man, and I've started martial art at 16 years old, and I've been pro actually since March 2014. So it's been 12 years, man, and I only have, if you look my record, I'm 10-2. So that's basically one fight a year, right? But for sure, I did more than one fight a year. I had a lot of unfortunately, I had times that I was not fighting, let's say for 2 years or things like that, right?
Yeah,
But anyways, that being said, I never gave up, and like getting that call was like whole, like wow, like all my efforts, the time I've put in, the money I invested, it all paid out at the end of the day. Because that what's crazy is that I told my coach, like I think in the beginning of February, we had a talk, me and my coach, and I told him, look, like not making it to the UFC doesn't define me. Like it would be the cherry on the top for sure. It's my dream, but I
right,
told him like it doesn't define me. But at the end of the day, I always knew that I had the potential to be in the UFC and I had the talent, and my work ethic was always there. Everything was always there. But sometimes, unfortunately, like not every path is the same. Like
right,
I train with other UFC fighters, and I feel like I'm as good as them, but we had a different path. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of I don't want to say others are lucky, but I mean, like you need to get those fights, and like everything needs to be aligned a certain way, and you
right.
make it. And then it's not because you doesn't make it that you're not good or that your career is unsuccessful or whatever. But for sure, like I said, having invested so much time and money and blood, sweat, tears through all those years, it's really like it's a dream come true, and it's really like wow. Just like how can I say this? It's like my purpose is fulfilled,
Okay.
just by making it. But for sure, now I don't want to say that I only made it. I want to go in there and win and stay in the UFC, right? But just having the call, signing the contract was everything I've always wished for and always worked for. So pretty happy.
Okay. Going into like how you said it's been a long road, 12 years and all that. For fighters chasing a contract, the road could be, very long and how you said uncertain.
Yeah.
When did you truly start believing, I'm UFC material and I believe, the UFC, the next stage of for the UFC is within reach for my career?
So I would say like when I started pro, early 20s, I started to go train with some high level UFC guys, at TriStar in Montreal. And because I live like 2 hour drive from Montreal, so I
Okay.
was driving there often. And I remember one time, Firas Zahabi, who he
Yeah.
is. So he's he's the coach of George St. Pierre and Rory McDonald and bunch of he coached like a lot of talented fighter, right? His
Right.
brother Iman Zahabi. Anyways, so one time it was like in the beginning I started training there, and I went in the cage with one guy. He was not a UFC fighter, but he was a young prospect who was like the hopes were high on this guy, and unfortunately the guy had like a after that he had like a really bad knee surgery after surgery, so he doesn't fight anymore. But anyway, that being said, back then we had the same age, and but he had more fights than me, and he was like that close to the UFC. And I man, like I did a sparring round, well I think it was like 2-3 rounds with him, because he
Yeah.
was fighting a southpaw and Firas was coaching him, and just it was in the cage like in front of Firas. And I messed him up bad, like really bad. And Firas told me after, he's like, Julian, you're UFC material. Like, let's go, man. Go get that contract. And so right at this point, I was like, well, and my coach always, it's not only Firas, but my coach always told me, but to get like to get it said by somebody who's been in the game and coaching UFC, and George St. Pierre was like, okay, well, maybe it's true, right? So
Right.
I started like more putting like efforts and trying to do this as a living, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, my coaches back home always told me like that I had the potential, because everywhere I was going, I was doing great. But for sure, at one point, I started making some decisions that got me injured or got me a lot of fights canceled because of other opponents, and my career kind of went sideways a little bit. But in 2023, I decided to make a run back and just like, hey, because I was like working and I was not fighting anymore. I just had a big surgery, and I was like, man, deep down, I was like, I need to make it one more run, at least one more run. Let's go just one fight at a time.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided to go to Kill Cliff in Florida. That's in 2021,
Uh-huh.
and for sure, I saw the level there, right? Because the guys are super high level, but I always knew that I had what it takes to compete with those guys. And some of the guys they like to take me because when they fight a southpaw, they ask me, and I go with anyone anytime. So I always knew, man, always knew. And that's when I was like being around those guys a lot, because I was going a lot to Kill Cliff. Being around those guys a lot was like, if they can do it, I know I can too. So
Okay.
that's when in 2023 I decided like to really, okay, let's make it, and let's go, and let's make it to the UFC regardless of my age. Let's just give everything, and let's make a run for it.
Okay. And going into that as well and how you started making your run like in 2023, was there a specific fight or a performance where you felt you proved yourself and you proved that you belong over like in the UFC?
Yes. So when I started back in 2023, I think my layoff was like, I had one fight in, like, no joke, 2018. I had one fight, and no, I had one fight in 5 years. Okay. So my first two fights I won by decisions,
Yeah.
but they were like fight that I got adversity. But I think they were fights that I needed to have, especially after a layover like that. And I was,
Huh?
before the 2023 fight, I was on, so one fight in 5 years, and I was two losses in a row. So I went 5-0, lost two in a row, had a big injury, surgery.
Yeah.
What was, and then 2023 I started back. But like I said, I had two big fights, really like high adversity, and I had to grind it out, right, to
Yeah.
win those fights. But I think that's what I needed, because after that I went and got three finishes in a row. It's like I really like found back my groove, my timing. And the fight that I feel the most showed that I was UFC ready was a fight at Unified MMA against Mark Coker. The guy was a 9-win, 4 loss, but he was I think he was like a high in the rankings in the Midwest of the United States,
Yeah.
and he was like on the contender series list or something like that. But anyways, I fought him, and it was like my best performance ever, and my best camp ever, best shape ever. And I really like for once I really like let go, and just like I was such in a mood, and just like fighting like, you know
Having
at
fun
the
and
best that I
everything.
can. And I
Yeah.
really like, I messed him up and TKO him in the second round. But that was like my best performance. So that's when I was like, okay. And UFC Canada was there too at my fight, and they said they were impressed. So I was like, okay, let's go. And just another thing, before that fight, I was cut from Ultimate Fighter. I was supposed to be on the, well, not supposed, but I mean, I had signed the contract and everything, and I was like in the last like cuts before flying down to Vegas. And that's the season that Robert, my opponent, was he lost in finals. So anyway, I almost would have been on the same season as him, but look, life made it different, and now
Now
I got a
you're
contract,
waiting.
so it's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's an interesting fact to
Yeah.
know. Okay. So, kind of moving into your early life, growing up, were you always drawn to combat sports, or was there kind of a different path that you thought was gonna take you in life?
Oh, bro, not, I was not at all. Like people, if you talk to people around me, let's say when I was a teenager, I was getting called the asparagus, couldn't do a push-up at 16 years old. I was actually I come from a family that plays hockey because in Canada, hockey is really popular, right?
Right.
So I was a go, I was, but what's funny, I was the only one of the family, like through all my cousins, my brother, dad, uncles, I'm the only one who was a goaltender.
Yeah.
So and like they say, goaltenders a little bit messed up in the head, but it's like at the same time when you're the goaltender, right? You're like, yes, it's a team sport, but you're alone in that net. If you don't play good and you let like shitty goals, it's on you, right?
Right.
If you play like and you make all those saves, it's like you're the hero. So you're either a hero or a zero. And it's a little bit like, like fighting, right? You're like alone. You're alone in the cage. So that being said, it kind of prepared me for sure mentally to go on that journey of fighting. But now I was not I was like the less guy that would have ever fought. But what's funny is that at 16 when I decided to go. It's actually after watching the movie Never Back Down. You remember that movie? Have you
Yeah.
watched it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie was like really popular, and I was 16, and I went to the movie theaters to watch this movie. And I was like, oh my god, I want to do this. So I started like training like in my like living room, but like just doing anything, and like I just was doing like things on TV and that I was seeing on TV, right?
Yeah.
And then like my buddies were like, come train, come train. And they were training at Patnaud Martial Arts where I still train today. So at 16 I decided to go one night, and it changed my life. And the first night I was like really not good, but I stayed for like the sparring, and I decided to spar. It was with my friends from high school, so I don't care. But I
Yeah.
got beat up. I didn't got knocked out or nothing, but I was getting beat up, but I was laughing, like the getting hit and kicked and take down, and like I was just laughing and just getting up and let's go again, let's go again. Like I was loving it.
Yeah.
And that night I knew like that I found something that, oh shit, I love this. So my parents, thanks to them, they join they make me join the school for 1 year.
Okay.
And then the next is the rest is the story. Like I just never stopped, work harder than everyone. And at one point I was getting like as good as the people, and then I was better, but
Yeah.
I was a hard worker all my life because I was not born the athletic guy, or nothing like that. Like
Right.
I had to work twice as hard as the others. But sometimes when you're super athletic, you're a little bit lazy too because it's so easy, right?
Yeah.
Me, I never had that easiness. Like it was always hard for me, and I always had, like I said, to put double efforts. So I think that work ethic got me to the UFC today.
Okay. And as we said, you started at 16. So when you started watching MMA, were there any like specific athletes or other, fighters that you looked up to?
Yeah, well, for sure, George St. Pierre was the one we were most looking, right, living in Quebec.
Yeah.
But I also really loved Anderson Silva. Like, special, like me, when I started watching his fights, he was in his prime. I think his first fight I saw was against Damian Maia. Then it was the knockout against Belfort. And when he knocked out Belfort, that's the first time I saw John Jones against Ryan Bader.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like my friends were like, "Oh, you'll see, like John Jones he's a killer." I was like, "No, Bader will win." And then I was like, "Oh, who's that guy?" And I started to really like watch John Jones. So yeah, so like Anderson Silva, John Jones, and GSP were mostly the fighters that I grew up watching. Then
Okay.
for sure there was the McGregor era. We always had big watch parties when McGregor was fighting, and McGregor is an icon. So like growing up, yeah, it was with those guys.
Okay. You know, Kind of moving into your personality, your mindset, how would your teammates, or other people around describe Julian LeBlanc outside of the gym?
Man. I'm a nice guy. Sometimes too nice for the sport. Just kind guy, always ready to help everyone, and really a respectful guy too. That's why I know, like in the UFC, yes, for sure, I'll always be respectful. But
Right.
I know that the guys there, that they come to take your life. So it's not another level in the UFC. So for sure, I gotta go and there, not change nothing, but just be more. Just be more like a man. I don't want to say a man, but like just stop being the little kind Julian and be just like, hey, we're gonna fight and we'll talk after. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I'm a nice guy, man. I'm a really nice guy, and
Okay.
like I said, anyone could tell you like I'm always there to help anyone that needs help. And like if you write to me, even though I don't know you, I'll answer to you. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
if you're an asshole, but I mean, I'm just I'm a cool guy, and I'm not scared to say it. So yeah.
Okay. And what's one thing that you would say fans or other people might be surprised to learn about you? Kind of something that surprises others.
Well, you mean in fighting or just in life or?
Just in general, anything about you in general.
Well, I don't know, man. I have like maybe that I did like my university in criminology and law. It's like I could have done other things, if I wanted and have a
Yeah.
good job and everything, but it was just not for me. If not this, I don't know. It just the background we come from, Jikundo, sometimes we have like unorthodox techniques and things like that. So I'm looking forward to bring this to the UFC. But I don't have nothing crazy special, unfortunately. But like I said, I'm well educated guy,
Right.
and I, I know that I can be smart in fights, but I'm also not scared to go in the fire when I need to.
Okay. Going into kind of life outside of the cage, what are things that you're doing when you're not training or you're not getting ready for fights? What would like kind of a normal day look like for you?
Honestly, normal day, like I will always train regardless if I have a fight or no. It's like it's in my DNA. I need to train, but I really like to spend time with my family. I have a girlfriend, well, soon to be wife.
Oh,
I have a son. He's gonna be 6 years old next Friday, and my other son is in the belly, so he's in the oven. My girlfriend is due for June. So I'm really like a guy that loves to be with his family. I like to spend time with my son, with my girlfriend, and just be there for them because I know like training camp is hard. Sometimes I gotta leave. Cannot always bring them to Florida, etc. When I go to Kill Cliff. So I'm really like a family guy. And also maybe another thing that would surprise people is that yes, I did my university and everything, but what I did as a like my other job as fighting, well, I was a high school teacher.
oh, okay.
So that's another thing of me. But really, man, just basic training, spending time with family, and maybe I love pizza a little bit too much. So when I'm not fighting, not in camp, you'll see me often eating a good pizza. But instead of this, man, I'm really like I said, I love to be with my family, and I don't go out much. I'm just spending time with the people that deserve it and the people that matters.
Okay. And going into how you said you were a high school teacher, do you have any of like your former students, right? Do you have any of your former students kind of that watch your fights or like kind of knew about you as a fighter?
Yeah, I got a bunch of students that always write to me and they always support. And some of them, if they can, they come to see the fights. I also have a former student that now is one of my good training partners. He's younger than me for sure, but Clément Gravel, his name. He's gonna be. He's only amateur still, but he's gonna turn pro soon. And I think this guy has huge potential. Potential.
Okay.
So and now like he's my size. He's I think 21, 22, and he now gives me a hard time in the training, so that's good. I like it. So he's now one of my good training partners, and I look forward to bring him one time to the UFC to show him what it's all about. So this kid is you got to remember his name.
Okay, that's a pretty cool and interesting
Yeah.
fact. I mean, it's gonna be something that's gonna be kind of how would you say like it like kind of a full circle moment, right?
Exactly.
Especially if he makes it to the UFC and everything like
Yeah.
that. I mean, to
Yeah.
be on the same stage as you, that'll be like a story to tell.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Okay. And is there any other hobbies or interests that you have kind of outside of MMA that, some others might not expect or anything?
Like I used to play hockey, but it's been years that I stopped. But I used to love it, and sometimes I think about it. Like probably after when I'm done with my fighting career, I might put on the pads again and just go play for fun. If not, like honestly, bro, um, I'm passionate about martial arts and about like just training. Like I like to go to the gym, and lift weights. And this is really like my hobbies or what I'm passionate. Like I don't play golf or baseball or anything, but if my son wants to go out and play soccer or baseball, hockey, whatever, we'll go anytime. But
Yeah.
I don't really have another sport. I sometimes I like to game a little bit on PlayStation, but I don't have really much time for this. So I used to game a little bit more, but now, unfortunately, I don't really have time anymore. But I'm thinking, yeah, it's mostly this, man. If I can go train, I'll go train. If not, I'll be with my family, and if not, like for sure, I will spend some times, doing like publicity for my sponsors
Uh-huh.
or things like that. Because I have that's one thing that I'm really grateful for is I have an amazing uh, not following, but how can I say it? Like people really support. I have amazing
Okay.
support back home. Amazing sponsors. People like I sell a lot when I used to fight regionally. I would sell a lot of tickets, broke a lot of records of sales. So I have an amazing support. So I try to give back to the community as much as I can.
Okay. That's pretty cool. And I mean, I'm sure with that coming to the UFC, it's gonna bring a lot of attention as well. So,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, kind of moving into your journey, right? Every fighter's path is different, and you had your ups and downs building up to this moment and everything. What were kind of some of the toughest moments that you would say came along your journey, and that happened behind the scenes that people might not know?
Honestly, man, the fight cancellations that was the worst because if you look on my topology, I have a bunch of them. But if you look and you click, it's not because of me. I think I injured one time and canceled one time, but I might have like 16, 17 canceled bouts, or opponent changed last minute. Like everything happened, man, crazy, and that was really unfortunate because especially younger, like I lost a lot of good years, you know what I mean, by getting fight postponed, getting fight canceled last minute. It's like you train so hard and you put in so much money, and like yes, you get some sponsors, but it's like it only pays like the training, and then you don't fight. So the time now you gotta do another full camp. It's hard on the body to do two camps in a row, right? And
Right.
another thing is like now your sponsors give you money for the fight that was canceled, so you cannot really ask for more money. So now it's like you do the next camp on your like your
Own money.
work money, and like
Right.
it's just like it was like at one point it was like a joke. Like always, honestly, it was hard, man. And that's one thing that was really bad is that it's like I was getting fight canceled, I was overtraining, overcamped, then I was getting injured, and there was always something. Like for like 5 years, man, in a row, there was always something happening. And but at the end of the day, look, I always believe in myself. I didn't give up, and even though a lot of people were like, "You should stop," man, it's not like it's not meant for you. You're gonna like look everything that's happening, and always worked hard, and always knew deep down that hey, yes, things are happening, but look, there's a reason for everything.
Right.
And now I'm there. So I hope it can shows other people that hey, even though when it's dark, you gotta see the light at the end of the tunnel and just like gotta keep on moving forward, keep on believing. And like I said, I was always working hard. It's not like I was not working hard and everything. I was always working hard and doing everything I could. So I knew that I would have something at the end of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm really happy that it's the UFC.
Okay. You know, a lot of fighters speak on sacrifice. What are some things that you would say you had to give up or sacrifice in order to pursue this dream?
For sure, man, you gotta sacrifice and give up like the time with the friends. And when you're young, it's like you think that it's this is important and it's hard to give up, like, not going out and not going to all the activities that people do, or
Right.
you think you're missing out. But at the end of the day, when you grow up, you realize that you were not missing out, and that it's just what you got to do, and you got to see what your priorities are, and you got to set them young, and you just got to have like like a, I don't know what to say in English, but like a horse,
Okay.
horse binders, whatever. Like, you
Yeah.
just got to look forward, look at your goal, and just got to go, man. Because for sure, you cannot eat whenever you want. You cannot like have beers with your friends whenever you want, or like go out late whenever you want. You got to
Right.
set your priorities. You got to train hard even when you don't want to train. Sometimes you got to just still go and train and make it happen, right? But everything is going to be worth it when you make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Kind of looking back at your early career, how much of your fighting style do you think has evolved from your first fight up until now?
Oh, a lot, man. Everything, every aspect, the wrestling, the ground game, even the striking. I've always been a striker,
Yeah.
but man, like going to wrestle with those guys in Montreal when I was young got me so much better. Than going to Killcliff, I realized, holy shit, Canadians don't have a good wrestling. So I like just training with those guys. I think for sure my wrestling and my ground game is the thing that evolved the more. But I'm always trying to evolve every aspect of the game, because these days fighters start at 5 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So guys are so good. If you don't try to evolve every day, every week, you will get passed on, man. That's the thing with this sport. So it's always a learning process, and I think you gotta have an open mind. I
Yeah.
always will keep the same coaches, and they will always be in my corner. They know, but it's like you gotta try to take as much as you can from
Right.
people that you trust, and people that that are good. Not from everyone, but I mean, you gotta be an open book. I think that's the key to success in the sport.
Okay. Okay. And being going into that, being an open book and the keys to success, who would you say are key people that help guide you through the grind before getting the UFC opportunity?
For sure, in this sport, the people that guide me are my manager for sure is doing an amazing job. My coaches, so Patrick Marcel, Martin, Pat Node, they guided me since I'm 16 years old, not only on the martial art journey, but on also the all the mental and becoming a man, right? On
Right.
the end side, for sure, all the team at Killcliff, Henry Hoot, Greg Jones, Robbie Lawler, Sean Soriano, all the teammates there. I go there since 2021, and they've really helped me, even though I don't live there and I only go when I can.
Yeah.
They really have helped my development and making me a better fighter. My brother, it's not my real brother, but my good friend, Marc Andre Barrio, who's in the UFC. He brought me. I cornered him, I think, 5 times in the UFC. And we started martial arts together at 16 years old. And
Okay.
he's a good friend of mine. And like I said, he showed me a little bit like what's like. I was there with him 5 times, so it's
Right.
like when I'll be at my first fight week, for sure it's
It's gonna
different because
be
it's gonna be me.
definitely.
But
Yeah.
exactly, I'll know. So I think those people, and my strength and conditioning coach, my sponsors. I have an amazing team behind me, my parents, and they always believed in me, and my girlfriend for sure. So I have an amazing team, and it's crazy. Like, even my brother, I said my brother, but I mean my real brother always believed in me, and so always there to help too. So no, everyone like that's close to me, they all play their part, and I'm really grateful for this.
Okay. Kind of moving into the mental side. when fighters, sorry, finally reach the UFC, the pressure seems to, increase a bit. How do you keep your mindset, grounded while stepping onto the biggest stage of the sport?
Man, at the end of the day, like, how can I say? It's not because you're in the UFC that you're better than anyone. That's how I feel. You just
Okay.
gotta, like, for sure, you're good at fighting if you're there, but I mean, you're still a human being, right?
Right.
And it's like the thing you have to understand is that yes, you made it there. It took 16, 18 years for me to get it there, right?
Uh-huh.
But you can get off, like, you can fall down of it like
Like an
in
instant.
a second. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you always got to remember this, that yes, you're there and you're super high and in the highest and biggest promotion of fighting in the world, but it takes nothing to get you off it and lose everything. So you always got to remember this, and you got to be humble. I mean, I believe this. You got to stay humble, bro. You got to just do your thing, fight hard, make your money, and be a good good company guy, because UFC is the biggest, and they decided to give me my chance. So I'm there to work with them, and I'm there to fight hard and put on a show to the people that buy tickets. So I think that's the key of success. And I think your mental games got to be stronger, but you not got to become cocky or whatever. I think you just got to be the same person, stay a good person. And especially now that people will even more look up to you, you got to be a good person and try to give back.
Okay. You know, going back into like kind of earlier when you were talking about how you had kind of that 5 year layoff and you were kind of done, fighting, just working and stuff like that because of the surgery you had. Did you ever, have a moment where you kind of consider like walking away completely, or, was it always kind of like how you said, that feeling of like, I gotta give it another run, I gotta do it again? What kind of kept that feeling, or what kept you with that thing on the back of your head saying like, let's go again, let's do it again?
Honestly, I thought about it a couple of times, man, to just hang up the gloves. And even like after my last fight, I was like, because my last fight, my opponent changed last minute too, and I was like, okay, maybe it's time to like just do something else. But at the end of the day, I was like, man, what I'm gonna do that's gonna really like make me feel that way, the way that martial arts fighting, winning makes me feel.
Uh-huh.
And also deep down, I was like, I always knew, man, I always knew I had more to get from it. I
Okay.
had like a, I always knew I had like something was not over. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, and deep down, I could not stop, and it's a really good thing I decided not to stop, because look, here I am. You know what I mean? So
Right.
no, I'm happy I trusted my gut.
Do you kind of feel like, with you continuing that drive, did it kind of like ignite a new fire like in you, like a new passion and like a new ambition to want to be more hungry? Or like, do you kind of feel it was kind of the same, but just more trying to be more hardworking and dedicated to like getting to where you wanted to be?
Oh man, for sure, I'm more hungry than ever, especially now in the UFC. It's like, how can I not be hungry? You know what I mean? So
Right.
I know that the step is really high in the UFC. I know, and I because I've trained with those guys. I know what it is. So it makes me hungry. And also another thing is that, man, there's so much money you can make. So how can you not be hungry? You know what I mean?
Right.
For sure, you don't do it for the money, but at this stage, it's like there's money to make, so why not try to make the most of it?
Okay.
And I have, like I said, I have a son, I have a fiance, I have another son who's in the belly, who's gonna be there in 2 months. So it's like, gotta make the most of it, man. And gotta go out there and try to get those bonus, try to get those finishes, try to win, and just try to make the most of it.
Okay. And, like how you say, you're now in the UFC. And now that you're being officially a part of the roster and everything, does it kind of change the way you approach certain training camps and your preparations, or are you kind of looking to keep it the same, but just, obviously the game plan depends on the opponent?
Yeah, keep it the same, man. Like, we went we got it up until like up to the UFC.
Right.
You know, with my team, I will not change nothing. The only thing that's good now is that I can like focus, stop working a little bit, and focus really on just training, recovery, and just like focus on the fight. So I think that's what's amazing about all this. But no, I will keep it the same. Maybe try to go a little bit more to kill cliff now that like especially like between fights, since I'll probably have more money, more sponsors. I'll also probably get, I think, a work visa, you know, so to go to the States a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think that that's one of my goals, just to try to improve more, you know. But the team stays the same, the work ethic stays the same. The only thing, like you said, the preparation with the game plan depends on the opponent.
Uh-huh.
And for sure, like just put in more work, man, because I know, like I said, I know what's the step in the UFC,
Right.
and I know that the guys are very good. So just gotta be ready.
Okay. And getting into the fans and stuff like that, what's something that you would want the fans to understand about yourself and kind of who you are when they watch you fight?
Just not look at my age. Yes, I'm 34. Maybe this, oh, he's too old. No, just, man, I touch wood, man, but like I don't like, I don't have like a lot of damage. I'm and like I said, I've trained, it's been 18 years that I train. I've sparred with the best in the world. So I just want to go out there and let my actions speaks for themselves, but don't look at my age, just look at my performance. That's it.
Okay. And getting into like the fight week or fight day, do you have any like certain pre-fight rituals or routines that you like to do before you either walk out or like when you wake up like the day of fight day?
Honestly, no, I'm not like a super superstitious guy. Like, I don't believe like if you do the same thing all the time, it will always be like the same outcome.
Right.
I just really go how I feel. But for sure, like we always do like our activation around noon. Wake up, eat, drink a lot of water. You know everything. Eat, then do the activation, then rest a little bit and then leave for the venue. But I mean, there's not like a thing that I will always do the same, or I just honestly I go with the flow. I go how I feel depending on where I am too.
Yeah.
So I'm really more like I day to day, like just go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I
And
believe if you're ready, sorry, I don't work out,
no,
but
no, no worries.
just believe if you're ready, man. If you did your homework and you're ready, regardless what you do before the fight, you're ready. You know, so that's how I see it.
Okay. And like with the fight day and all that, is there like kind of before your walkout and when you're kind of getting warmed up, is there like any music or anything that you like to listen to kind of get you in the mindset to be focused and ready like for the fight or
I like to listen to some rap, some good rap,
okay.
or any song that I like in training camp. I'll see that really like comes get me and fires me up. I'll
Yeah.
put add it to my playlist. But like, let's say my walkout songs, I legit decide like the week of the fight every time. You know. So
Yeah.
it's like there's not like I don't always take the same song, or I just gotta like see what makes me feel like really pumped at this time, and that's what I'll use. So
Okay.
I'm
So it's just
changing a lot.
alternating. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And do you kind of, is there like a fight, not a fight, sorry. Is there like a song right now at the moment that kind of gets you like a little bit hyped and pumped up like when you start training, or you kind of haven't found one yet?
I like the song "Son" from Rammstein, but it's not. That's funny. It's not rap. It's like metal. You know. That's and usually I listen to rap, but like I said, it really depends on my mood.
Right.
And but yeah, I also like an artist. It's called Nefex. Nefex
Next.
is like you know him or no? It's
I
like
haven't
he
heard.
does a lot of mix. He does a lot of mix, but it's like rap with some like rock too, but it's good. It's
Okay.
good. So I like
Yeah,
to
okay.
listen to him a lot. But yeah, that honestly, I go with the flow, and I just if I hear a good song, I add it to my playlist, and then I listen to it, and when I train or when I drive or when I warm up. So yeah.
Okay. And kind of getting into like how you said earlier, right? You know, it's a big step going to the UFC and all that, right? A lot of fighters they get signed, you know, getting signed is one thing, but what what does it mean to kind of stay and climb the rankings and what are your goals now that you're here?
It's exactly this, man. Go out there and win. Take it one fight at a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But go out there and win my first fight April 18,
Okay.
and make a big statement and show the UFC that they did the right thing to sign me at 34 years old.
Okay. And you know, when the fight fans and everybody looks back at Julien Leblanc's career, what do you want it to represent, or how do you want people to see your fighting career as?
I want to see people like they see perseverance, hard work, not giving up, believe in your dreams, believe in yourself. And like I said, man, anything is possible when you work hard, you do
Right.
the right choice in life, and you're a good person. Life will often give you what you work for.
Okay. For any young fighters watching this interview and all that who dream of making it to the UFC or to one of the highest stages of the mixed martial arts level, what is kind of an advice you would give to them going along their journey or something to encourage them?
I'd say, man, first of all, you got to have a good team around you. Uh, don't listen to anyone because a lot of people will try to pull you everywhere and they're not always there for you. Sometimes they're there for themselves. So make sure to have a good team of people you trust around you. Don't be scared to fight. For sure, take the good fights at the right moments, but don't be scared of the competition. Don't try to pad your record. Don't be scared of adversity because you learn a lot through adversity and you become better. Never give up. Also, right when it's hard, either in training or in life, don't give up because there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And like I said, when you work hard and you believe in yourself, no matter like if it's hard, if it's been 1 year, 2 years that it's hard,
Yeah.
there's always light and you can always change your life too. Sometimes you don't see it, but it can change like that. So just work hard, uh, get a good team around you and get the good fights, but don't be scared of adversity because adversity makes you better.
Okay. I like that. I like that message. You
Thanks.
know, some personal motivation, you know, kind of speaking on yourself. Who would you say, you know, you fight for? You know, what are the people that motivate you the most when things get hard?
It's my for sure my son and other son that's not born yet, but my son William. So my kids, if I can say, and my wife. So that's for them that I do it 100%.
Okay. At the end of the day, what drives you more, the competition, the legacy, or proving something to yourself?
Honestly, I think I think the three of them, like the legacy
Mhm.
for sure first, proving things to myself second, because like I said, I come from a young, even though I'm not a teenager anymore, but I come from teenager that couldn't do a push-up, was called the asparagus, and no one would have ever believed in me, especially not in fighting.
Right.
And for sure the competition, like winning, like getting in that cage, winning, it's unexplainable, you know. So it's something that I think it will be hard to find the same feeling after when it's all said and done.
Okay. I like that. I like that. You know, that's pretty much all the questions I have for today
Perfect.
for all. Uh,
Perfect.
you know, an incredible journey and one that's just beginning. From the regional grind to the global stage, Julien Leblanc is proof that persistence, discipline, and belief in yourself can take you all the way to the top of the sport. In the next chapter, his octagon is going to be unfolding in April, and for the UFC, I wish you luck on your debut. And you know, thank you again for the opportunity, and I look forward to speaking to you soon again.
Thanks to you, brother, and I like what you said, man. It's perfect, and I appreciate you giving your time and following my career. It's super appreciated.